Good morning. I learned a very important thing today. I always do a little like to check the volume. I was like, the picture's really fuzzy. I wonder what's wrong with it. So I cleaned the camera lens. I'm sure it hasn't been cleaned for a long time. Much clearer picture. So today I want to talk a little bit about how to protect yourself from brainwashing and mind control. And the story sort of, thinking of coming and talking about this because of my good friend and just sort of the situation, and he's not alone. There's like millions and billions of people in this same situation doing sort of menial tasks that require little thought, right? And repetitive, this repetitive, almost like an automaton you have to be. And how that all plays into mind control and brainwashing. So we'll get into a little bit, as I've talked to before, about how easy it is to mind control us, because there are two parts of our consciousness. There's the conscious mind, which is where I am right now. I'm consciously aware, and you're listening to me, and unless you're daydreaming, you're in conscious mind. But as soon as you kind of go into a daydreaming, or when you're not really focused on things, when you're unfocused, when you're in fear, when you're in fight, which is fight or flight, anything that takes you out of that conscious mind, confusion will do it, conflicting, when you see conflict out there, group dynamics can do it. There's many things that take you out of the conscious mind, the prefrontal cortex part of your mind, and puts you into subconscious. So subconscious always is taking in information, and it processes information much differently than the conscious mind, right? So it's the autonomic, it's the automatic system, right? And it doesn't have any moral compunctions. It doesn't have any judgment. It can't judge it. It just takes it in, sees repetitive patterns, and follows the repetitive patterns because it's a survival, right? What it does is, as you start to study it and you start to understand your autonomic nervous system, it is a frickin' wonder. It is. It's constantly in survival mode, keeping you walking straight, keeping you upright. Your hearing, your sense of hearing, your sense of touch, it's all because it's all automatic. But what's happened is these dark artists, these occultists, remember, it's only hidden skill, they know all of this. So they use your very autonomic nervous system, your essence, against you. So my friends, here people are working like 6 days a week and not for a whole lot of money, and physically demanding jobs. They're very physically demanding jobs, the vast majority of them. This is a rural area, so you have the farmers, you got the guys that are delivering stuff, right? You just have a lot of men doing men jobs. Really, men hard jobs. I look at them, and I used to see them in Canada too. Not so much anymore. They've been emasculated, right? But you think, thank God for them out there doing the shit jobs. Would you want to be out there and do it? No, I think they're wonderful. But there is this constant repetition. So my friend drives truck and delivers stuff. So it's hard physical labor. You've got to have your mind. But a lot of times with driving, done it, you go into automatic pilot. So most of the time I would say my friend is in automatic pilot because these are jobs, repetitive. You do the same thing. Every day is the same, as he says. So listening to him, talking over the last little while about feeling like a zombie, right? Even when I see him go home, right, and he doesn't engage as much with his family because he's still asleep. So it came to me, it's sleep. You're sleepwalking. When I was in the battered relationship, I was sleepwalking. I was asleep. I was asleep to what? I just kept going like an automaton. Just like billions of people that are engaged in pursuits, not for themselves, usually for a corporation or governments, working for governments, that has no meaning, it's not fulfilling. And you really just zone out most of the time, and most of your life is spent sleeping. Why is that fucking dangerous? Because when you're sleeping in this subconscious state, and I've said it before, 95% of the time we're in it, I would say it's vast, it's more. Just because of the nature of our world right now, the nature of jobs, right? That people are in this sleeping state where they're highly suggestible and everything in the environment is there to create a perception and grab your subconscious mind and plant seeds in there that will grow and fruition, and you will think they're your own thoughts when they're not. They've been planted in you. And they're very, when we see the Western, you see it happening here too, this homogenized, everybody the same, everybody doing the same thing, sort of sleepwalking their way through life. And then numbing themselves off more with alcohol, with pornography, with weed, with coffee, lots of coffee, processed food, sex, masturbation, whatever. Now it's AI, erotica. I'm like, come on. We're so focused on our fucking sexual organs. Like, let's get a grip on that, eh? But that again is infantilized. And I used to say that. Why do people have such a, that's all they talk about is their, like, really? There's not more to life? There is more. But again, it's a part of this dopamine hit, keep you numbed off. In that numbed off state, you are so suggestible. Put you in front of, everybody's in front of a screen, are they not? Right? Within 90 seconds in front of the screen, you're shut down and open, ready to receive whatever they want to give you. Remember, 11 million pieces of information go in there in 1 second. So when you look around in the environment that you're in, which is a fake environment, that is the matrix, the environment that has been created for us through governments that are owned by corporations that have a goal, that have an agenda, and they want you a fucking sleep. And they want you protesting that does, okay, I see it in the UK, and I watched another guy's, and it's so fucking true. These guys are 10 step ahead of you. They're ahead of you all the time. They know what you're going to do. They understand you. That's the dark art of it. That's the occultism, right? It's not magic. They just understand how we fucking work. We don't understand how we work. So they use that understanding, that dark art, against us, so that we actually self-suicide, that we will go and kill ourselves, shorten our lifespans, right? And engage and take in substances that kill us. Some kill us fast, some kill us slow. But indeed, they're poisons and they will kill you. So it all goes in together, and your governments are not working for you. They're the CEOs for the corporations that own you like fucking cows. So what can you do to break the sleep? You have to put food on the table. This is my friend's quandary. 2 small kids, wife can't work. She's impaired from, the armed guard that she decided to take. He and the kids, but I think the youngest one from shedding has got some issues related to that, right? Because it does shed. So, how can he really, the best that you can hope for in your life, which you need to work towards, is to be an entrepreneur. Because working for somebody else, you're never ever going to. And can you still do it in this world that's moving steadily towards AI? Of course you can. It's jobs that don't, anything I would say of a professional level is going to AI. Right? All the government jobs will be AI. That's the whole point of making your governments look like bumbling fucking idiots and shutting down the government in the US to say we don't really need it anyway. A machine could do it. AI could do it, and then they'll take over. That's the whole fucking plan, is that. So when you see the absurdity and the shit like that, that's all mind control. I remember when I first moved here to Panama, right downtown David, which is a town about 150,000. Great big fucking billboard with a Glock gun, because you can carry a pistol. You can if you're a Panamanian. It's very hard to get a gun license here if you're not Panamanian, but it's not there anymore. The Glock, because they're taking a different route here. They're really trying to, what can I say, westernize this country, which is sad to see. I hope it doesn't break the spirit of the country and the community, because that is what's broken in the Western. There is no sense of community anymore. Hence why homeless people stick together. It's so hard to get homeless people off the streets. because they have a sense of community and belonging. They belong somewhere, right? So how can you have to work, you have to put food on the table. What can you do then to break the spell of walking through your life sleepwalking? Well, of course, it's the ancient arts have been telling you for a long time. Number one, breath. Even 3 breaths, deep breaths will bring you back to now, right? So it's being mindful when you see yourself fading off, right? To bring yourself back to present, right? And understand. And nothing could be more important right now than knowing thyself. To know thyself is to sit in pain, because we all have pain. We all have some pain. Pain. If you say you don't have pain, then you've repressed that pain. We do. We're humans, right? To be able to sit in that, to be able to sit with yourself, to be able to reflect, to get to know, right? That's the way you stay mindful here. And unfortunately, so many people can't sit in that. But it is so important that you do. Also, you need to be important. A lot of people are, listening to shit when they're mindlessly going through their day. Be very fucking careful what you're listening to, right? I'm going to link, I do a lot of looking into researching MK Ultra, mind control, all of that. That's along with my healing arts, that's fascinates me. I want to know more about it. So I'm going to share with you. It was a post on Substack. Cecile Faber, I believe, is her name, and this she shares two documentaries about MK Ultra. Very interesting. Leonard Cohen is discussed. Marilyn Muir. They were all Marilyn Monroe. I think that she was of my genre. And I get me too, though I don't think I was. Well, we've all been MK Ultra because trauma-based mind control is what's unleashed on our world. This is what it is. They did it in small little test patches, then said that they stopped the program when nothing could be further from the truth. And what you're seeing around us is trauma-based bonding with governments, like a Stockholm syndrome, cognitive dissonance, where you can't believe that it's happening. It's all trauma-based. When you see people apathetic, hopeless, that's all because you're bombarded with shit all the time. Your mainstream media, anything that you see on a billboard. Now what I see here, and I've said this before, university, but there's not men and women. It's just a woman, because they want women out of the homes here, because it's still very much a traditional society here, right? Where there are very defined roles. I kind of like that. I like it. Women are women and men are men. Panama City is different. Like, I don't really care what you do if you're an adult. It isn't part of a political discussion. I don't care. As long as you're a good person, not a friggin' idiot, and try to jam your shit down my throat, I won't jam my shit down your throat, right? I don't care. But they're trying to break that. Right, what they do, and there was another thing that I watched, and it relates to a book that I read a long time ago when this all started, Political Pontronology, how they go in and change systems. The systems, this is the part that they're at here, right, is in, pontronologize is to invert. And we know that this ancient death cult that runs things, the dark arts, the occultists, they invert. They're deceivers. They invert. So they go in and they invert the organizations, everything. And the new presidente, he's doing good things, so people like him, right? To a degree, not all. But he's like this with the UN, right? So the 17 sustainability goals are here in a big way, because this is like a fucking trophy country, this one is. You've got the canal, you've got ton copper for electrical all that shit, your batteries. Yeah, the mine will reopen again. There's all kinds of natural resources here, and it is a stunningly beautiful country, right? But you can see, like, there's not fentanyl here. There's cocaine here. Colombia's right on the border, right? But that doesn't matter. It just hasn't been dropped here because my son died. It was in the cocaine. So it just hasn't been done. They're in a different, put it this way, we're in a giant lab, the world, and each country and each place is in a different area of this controlled demolition and moving towards this one world government, this one world AI controlled, hooked to the cloud, not with a chip, with the shit that's in the air that they're flying around there, that's everywhere, right? So you can indeed decouple from the system, see it for what it's doing, and walk the mid ground. But you can only do it by actually facing that it's happening, right? So I found these two. I mean, when you look at you just can't. And Leonard Cohen, wow, blow your fucking mind. And they got the receipts to prove it, right? We really don't, this theater, because it is a theater, we don't understand the backgrounds of what's going on there. But it's far more complex than what people think. And another thing is to keep from being on sides. I'm on human race sides. I like humans, human 1.0, right? I don't want automatons. To watch this whole mechanistic, materialistic bullshit unfold long before 2020, long before. I've been watching it. Telling people, actually, this is not, but people just look at, what's she talking about? And, I posted something the other day on Facebook, and the woman that answered she was so true, talking about somebody that said that their kid got influenza, which everybody gets influenza, whatever that is, detoxing of the body. But they had an influenza shot. So it was the person that didn't get the shot that was their fault, that they're, see, that's absurdity. That's mind control. Utter confusion. It's absurdity. The mind can't take it. It shuts down because somewhere deep down inside you know that that's absurdity. So I put, you can't cure stupid. Well, somebody said, look, they've been, mind controlled. Their perceptions have been. And she's right. It's true. I don't, put it this way. They can't be trusted. So in other words, I'm very neutral. I feel very empathetic towards the suffering that see people suffer, needlessly suffer, the sickness, the unwellness, the being thrown in that terrible business, that corporate. I read another statistic, and I know this too. Trillions of dollars are spent in the United States with the worst health outcome. And if you just go further north to Canada, same. But now they've decided that death is treatment. And 90,000 so far since it started. And you can bet that that's probably way more because not all of them put down that MAID was used or medical assistance in dying was used. And so people are being pushed by the white coats. How many times do you have to repeat that before you think, well, must be the right thing to do? That person in that white coat that in my subconscious mind has been programmed to be an expert, knows what the fuck they're talking about, is a goddamn psychopath that is making money on your fucking death and could care less because he sees or she sees you as being a worthless, useless eater. And if you don't think that's true, you just need to open your eyes and look around. So awareness is key. You have to be aware of what's going on with mind control and that everything in your environment, technology, now this has even taken it doesn't even have to do repetitive different images or things that are happening on the screen, but happen so rapidly that only your subconscious mind sees it. Remember, the subconscious mind is aware of things before the conscious mind is. So it's already in there. It's already in there. Right? So it behooves you to stay in the conscious mind so that you're not being bombarded with shit. And now it's not even the repetitive content. The AI is watching and data harvesting you, and it knows eye movement. It can actually start to predict what you're going to do mentally from if your keystrokes, if it can actually, which I think it can, heat sensors, right, in the newer phones that can pick up heat wave, all of that changes in your body dynamics, the way your eyes move, the things that your eyes look at. It can use that and start to feed it back to you and put you in a trance state. And anything that takes your attention and focuses it on one point puts you in subconscious mind. So when you spend hours of hours on Netflix or this or that, electronics, doom scrolling, you are in a fixed state and it has you. And it's mining you and mind controlling you. So, that being said, we are where we are. And the best that you can do is be your best every day. Be strong, exercise, move your body, eat right, get rid of the toxins as much as you can out of your environment, and understand the toxic nature of those trying to grab your perception and start to mind control you to behave in ways that you think is organic to you, but in essence is really programs that are down. That's all that culture is. We are all the same. We are God's children in my mind. We're divine sparks that are down here having a little brief experience down here, right? And I believe that there's free will. And how are we going to treat people? Are we going to treat people like shit that don't matter, just materialistic, and who cares? Or are we going to understand that they're just like us with the same needs and wants, and that we were born in perfection? We are perfect beings, right? We just need to remember who we are. And you can't do that when you're being mind controlled and that you're sleepwalking. It's like, God grant me the serenity to change the things I can and the courage, right? The courage to change the things I can, but the wisdom to know the things I can't. Do you know the only thing you can change? You. It's the only thing. There's nothing else. And you change out there by changing you. So, being mindful when you're in, just bringing yourself back into awareness periodically, doing little checks during the day. Where am I? Where have I been? What have I been focusing on? What do I need to focus on? So instead of listening to shitty mind control that you don't even know you're being mind controlled, put on good things. How to open a business, how to do this, learning, right? If you're going to be in that subconscious state, maybe you should program stuff that you want to, because it's going to be programmed anyway. One way or the other, you're being programmed. So are you going to let out there these nefarious, God knows what they are, occultists, dark artists, program you? Or are you going to program you? Because you can, right? You just repetition. You keep doing it over and over and over again. Becomes a pattern, and then your subconscious mind believes that that's the way it is, and it starts to create the situations that are right for that. So you can indeed. You do have control over it, but you have to be aware of it first, right? We're very powerful beings. Very. They wouldn't go to all this trouble to make us into automatons if we weren't, right? So that's what I had to say. I'm going to give you the link of Cecile Farber, and the very good documentaries about MK Ultra. Fascinating. You know, I was put up for adoption at birth. My mother had 3 girls, and all of them from different fathers, and I was the youngest. And we were all put up for adoption because there was no way. She had no money, and at least she didn't abort us. But I was in for 8 months, and these fuckers were going into orphanages. There's about 10. I mean, most of the documentation from MK Ultra is gone, but the shit that's left. Yeah, there's a big case going on right now in Canada. It went to the Supreme Court. These people that are suing the Allen Memorial Hospital, where Dr. Ewan Cameron worked, and did torture sessions on unsuspecting, vulnerable psychiatric patients. He was evil. He studied. He actually went over to the Holocaust during the Nuremberg trials and had access to all their records. And so he put it on. So it is true. It is happening. So I'll link those too. So this, you have to understand what's going on. You have to understand mind control. You have to understand how you work to be able to break the spell and start to program yourself. So let's take back the reins and do the programming ourselves. Stay in the now. Bring yourself into the now. Past is gone. You got to like come to grips with the pain of the past, but it's gone. The future, we can envision a different future. We need to take that back. We need to stop going down that fear path with those people that are creating perceptions and downloading programs. You see, I could go on and on. Take care. Have a good day.